What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Shuggy from Sugar Earth Media. Today, we are back with Star Trek Picard Season 3. This is the third episode called 17 Seconds, and I gotta say, it is official now. This is my favorite show. Star Trek Picard Season 3, it's my favorite show on TV right now. I haven't been this excited about a new Star Trek episode in my whole life. I've only been this excited about episodes that came out before I was old enough to really understand what was going on. So I'm really excited to be breaking down this episode with you guys, and if you're Star Trek fans as well, definitely hit the sub button and let me know in the comments section your opinion on this episode. I can't remember an episode being this exciting, this cathartic, this dramatic. There's so many great scenes to break into, and I'm just really excited about it. So I hope you guys are excited along with me. So we break right into the action. It picks up right where we left off last week. We got a space battle in this nebula, and I complained previously about, some shoddy CGI, but in this episode, not so much. I'm really liking the looks of the nebula and the colors and the space ships flipping around. I love this dynamic, and it's very exciting. Like I said, it feels very high stakes here because we are outgunned, outmanned, and we have no idea what's going on. We're trying to figure out what's going on as it's happening. So really exciting scene. And usually with Star Trek shows, the action scenes are not my favorite part, but in this episode, it proves to me that they can have amazing action scenes. Okay, so we start off with a flashback after that little teaser. We're doing a flashback to when Riker's first child was born. Now they do some de-aging stuff. It's not all that convincing, but you know what? You need it for the setup at the end. It's very cathartic. It's one of the best scenes I've seen in a long time. Just seeing Jean-Luc Picard have a toast to Riker. He describes Riker to him in a very meaningful, heartfelt way, and then he makes a joke that he was talking about his wife, or Riker's wife, Deanna, of course. So that's a great joke. And then Riker tells the story of the birth of his son and how he was in the shuttle going to medbay when he had the thought that his son might die. He might lose his son, and he sees his son's life flashing before his eyes, and the episode is called 17 Seconds because that is the amount of time it took to get to medbay, and it was the longest 17 seconds of his life, and that is the moment when he became a father, when he felt that loss coming, and he could see the future of his son that was unborn, and we get to see Picard live through that moment at the end of the episode. And like I said, setting up this catharsis, I'm already in my feels as soon as the scene starts, and it's just amazing writing, and the acting is great too. Of course, Picard, he sounds a little too old, but even with that, I think Patrick Stewart really brought it in this episode. I think he really did. So, and then we jump back to the present day timeline, and, they still got the cussing. I'm not a fan of that, but you know what? I'm willing to put some of those things to the side. So here we got a smaller scene in the episode where LaForge's daughter comes to visit Seven of Nine, who is, of course, still quarantined to quarters for being insubordinate a few episodes ago. And I love this little connection that they have, that they felt that they didn't fit in necessarily, and they had trouble making friends. And she brings up that her father had similar struggles. Of course, if you've seen Next Gen, you know that. And even just her very existence, I'm like, wow, LaForge finally got a girlfriend. Who could have foreseen this? Maybe it happened in one of the spin-offs or something I didn't see. But I just thought that was a funny thought. But I love that connection there. There's some little emotional catharsis. Even the small scenes in this episode have that emotional resonance to them. So I really love this episode in general. And here we're in medbay, and we got Beverly and Jack trying to help out. And I like the element that the new doctor is kind of at odds with Beverly, because there have been changes in the past 20 years in how they do medicine, new technology, etc. And Beverly, of course, is more old school, so there's that tension there that the new doctor is like, I don't want to have to explain all the new procedures to you, so please stop. And Beverly can't help herself. She's got to help. So that's just who she is. And then we get the scene that we've been waiting for, one of the best scenes in Star Trek ever, honestly. I think it really is up there. I absolutely love this reunion scene between Jean-Luc and Beverly. There's, of course, a lot of tension there because of this big secret that has been kept. Picard is very upset that he was not allowed to make the decision of whether or not he wanted to be a father. And Beverly's explaining her decision in great detail, and you can really see both sides of the issue. And it's just one of those amazing writing things in scripts where you see both sides of it and they both make total sense, and you can't decide who's right, or maybe you have an opinion on who's right, but you can see the other side of the issue. So they discuss how Jean-Luc always had an issue with family, and how apparently in season 2 they brought up that Picard had an abusive father, which I didn't know about, but I heard based on summaries. So I don't know if that was an element before or not. I don't think so. But it's an interesting element here. And then there's the element that he's always off in the stars. He's always putting himself in danger, and that he has powerful enemies. And Beverly, as a mother, wants to only protect her son. And she says, I know I can protect my son. I don't know if I can protect Jean-Luc's son. So this is one of the most cathartic and interesting scenes of the episode. And I got to say, Patrick Stewart did an amazing job in the scene, and I forget the actress who plays Beverly's name at the moment, but she did amazing in this scene as well, and you can really feel the history between them. And wow, I was blown away by the scene, and I gotta say, I think this is one of the best hours of television I've seen in a long time. So I'm really, really enthusiastic about this. So just an amazing scene, and then we're outside with Jack and Riker, and here we get a little bit of why Jack might be, just wanting to put himself at a distance from Picard. He says that the bigger the legend, the more disappointing that they might actually be. And we found out in that previous, or I think it's actually to come yet, but Beverly says that she told Jack about who her father is and where to find him, and he decided not to pursue finding him. So there's that tension there, and I'm really, really curious to delve deeper into that. I can't wait for that. And we get the history there where, Beverly told Jack stories about the Enterprise, and her face would light up, and then she would get really sad. So, I'm loving setting up all these dilemmas. And then right at the end, Riker says that the crew is saving his life, and that the best that he can do is make them feel good about it. So, and this, of course, is in relation to people who pass by him looking at him suspiciously, and I thought that was a really great detail. So, and then we're getting information here about who is pursuing them. And then it looks like it's the Klingons. It looks like it's the Romulans. And then we get a very big reveal about who it actually is and why it seems like there's so many people coming after them. And then there's that's why trust no one was in the message. They even thought that Starfleet was after them. So, and I just thought it was so brilliant bringing back one particular storyline. The Changelings, spoiler alert, guess we'll just get into it. The Changelings from the original series are back, and I think it's brilliant, and they really set up this mystery, and I think they put a lot of thought into it. So now we are back in the bridge. We're under attack again, and there's explosions, and the captain gets injured, and he puts Riker in charge of the ship. So another amazing scene, and even like the captain is growing on me. Captain Shaw, you see him injured, I'm like, no, dude, I don't want him to get hurt. Man, I like this guy. I think he's got a good head on his shoulders. He's really looking out for his crew, even though he might be a little bit cynical and a little bit of a jerk sometimes. I think he's doing the right thing. So I like the new captain. And but I love, of course, Riker being in the captain's seat, and we have that great line about where Jean-Luc says it's about time you start calling me number one. Just amazing, and that's a really, for fans, that's just an Easter egg that we're gonna love. So, and here we're picking up with Raffi and Worf, and I think that's her name, Raffi. She's a new character for Picard, who I don't know much about, to be honest with you. But this part of the episode, when it started, I was like, this is the weak point of this episode, how great this episode is, and that it has less to say about this scene and more about how great the rest of the episode is. But I gotta say that this storyline grew on me towards the end because we get the connection that we've been waiting for. I've been waiting to see how this storyline is connected, and we get that at the end. So I thought that was amazing, and I really like seeing Worf again. He's my favorite Star Trek character, one of my favorite characters of all time. But we find out that he is not working directly for Starfleet. He's a subcontractor, in his words, as you can see on the subtitles on screen. So I'm really curious to find out more about that. And they're, of course, investigating the attack, and it turns out that there's something even bigger on the horizon. The attack was actually just a distraction against the real threat. So I'm really curious about that. That's a little mystery that we got for next week. But I like how she's going through withdrawal here. And she has this moment where she's like, man, I gave up my family. I gave up my sobriety. I gave up everything that I've been working for. And just that moment of despair, I think, was really, really, again, cathartic. There's so many little scenes here and a lot of just emotional scenes, and it still manages to have humor. It still manages to be fun and exciting. It is dramatic without being just doom and gloom all the time. So I love the tone. They really nailed it on this show, man. So, and here we got this dilemma between Riker and Picard, where Riker wants to have a defensive strategy, and Picard wants to attack. So I'm loving the difference of opinion here, and I feel like in olden days, Picard would have been the one doing the defensive strategy, and Riker would have been the one who would have wanted to be more aggressive, or at least, that's kind of what my gut is saying. But that fatherhood element of Picard and wanting to protect Jack, I think, brings him to the other side of the issue. So they've swapped positions in more ways than one, which I think is absolutely brilliant. And seeing the tension and drama between them is also just an amazing, fascinating element of this episode. Here we're back in Medbay, and we're trying to save the captain. And here Beverly proves that her knowledge and her know-how is more important than the technology, because the reader or scanner that the other doctor was relying on didn't give all the information. And now she knows that Beverly is actually a useful person to have around. So I love that little element. Again, it's such a small little detail, but I can tell that they poured so much into the script. Every little moment has so much detail in it. And here the captain is wondering, how do they keep finding us when there's no logical way that they should be able to find us? Pure chance alone is not enough for them to keep showing up where we are hiding every single time. So I love that detail, and that's what gets our boy Jack on the offensive, trying to find that out. And I love Jack in this episode as well, bringing up the heroism that he has. We're still that dark backstory that he has, the crimes he supposedly committed. Maybe we don't trust him, but my gut is telling me that he's a good person. So I really am intrigued by this character, and it's kind of fun to have somebody who doesn't have to abide by Starfleet regulations on the ship. Somebody who is not beholden to the same powers that be. So I really like that element of it. So, of course, that's Riker saying we gotta be defensive. I'm kind of just repeating myself at this point, but I really like the pacing and the tension here. It really is quite perfect, quite brilliant. And here we get the confirmation that the Worf storyline and this storyline are in fact connected with the portal weapon. And the portal weapon is used to very good effect in this fight. And the ship is drawn into this portal and keeps getting drawn back into the nebula. So there's no easy escape here. I think that element is so genius. I really like it. And then there's so many different story elements that all on their own would make an interesting episode, and yet they're all coalesced here in such a perfect way. It's woven so intricately. I think it's really, it's a very impressive script, I gotta say. Like, I'm just blown away by it. So here we are investigating, following another lead with Worf and Raffi, and there's a little chase scene here, and they catch up to the guy. This is the one scene where I was like, they could have probably done a little bit more here, but there's so much else jam-packed in this episode that it's not like it's a bad scene or anything. It's just like, if we could have had some more dynamic chase scene elements, it would have been a little better. But I like seeing them work together. I like seeing Worf in action again. So it's a good scene ultimately, and there's so much more going on that you can totally just gloss over that, and it's totally fine. So here we got... I forgot about the scene with Jack trying to get into the bridge to get the new information to the captain now. And he has that moment where he's stopped before going into the bridge, and you could see the wheels turning in his head. I think that this guy's a great actor. You can really see that he was thinking about smacking that guy in the face, but then he has another idea of another way to progress. He doesn't just give up. He is going to 7 of 9 to try to get her help in this, because he knows that the captains are busy right now. So he's going to pursue this lead on his own. So I like the lone wolf aspect of his character as well. And, he smacks the guard in the face. And even 7 of 9, who was quite murderous in season 1, was like, "You're crazy." So I love that. There's a leak on the ship. Turns out it was sabotage. And this is when we find out who it was that did it. We see shape-shifting faces and stuff. And, I forgot earlier with the Worf scene with or maybe we haven't actually gotten that yet. Never mind. So I'm loving all this drama. I don't even know that I really need to break down each and every scene here, because if you guys watched it, you know. But we got an exciting action scene here, and I really thought that Jack was done for here. I really thought that there was a possibility he was done. Now we got a little torture scene, which it does feel out of place in Star Trek, but you got to keep in mind that Worf isn't working directly for them at this moment. And it turns out that they're not even really doing anything to torture him. Raffi thought it was withdrawal for a second. It turns out it's something else entirely. And that it's, of course, the Changelings, which I really love. And, of course, if you're in the know about previous Star Trek seasons, or series, rather, you know as soon as he mentions the Great Link. I think it's interesting that Worf knows a bit more than he's letting on and doesn't tell Raffi everything. And they have this good cop, bad cop dynamic, where Raffi's the aggressive one and Worf's playing the good guy, which is, usually it would be the opposite, right? So again, role reversal is doing a lot for this episode here, and really giving us a lot of really great payoffs. And Raffi, I think, is an interesting character. I can't speak on previous episodes or whether or not I liked her up to this point. I haven't seen any of it. So, and then we get this weird little dream scene where she's talking about follow the branches. I'm assuming we'll find out what this means. This is like a little mystery that we're planning now. We're going to have explained later. He sees 7 of 9 and then this weird tentacly stuff growing behind her. I don't know if is it a reference to another past Star Trek thing? Maybe not. Maybe it is. Maybe it isn't. I don't remember offhand. And then there's like this red door that he sees, and I'm assuming that will become relevant later. I was trying to show it there, but it looks like it was a very quick shot. So, and then we get the cathartic scene with Picard, where he has his 17 seconds moment. And I really, the audio cuts out and the music swells up, and I really thought that we might lose Jack here. And here's Picard. He had that long ride in the elevator down to sick bay rather, and this is his moment where he becomes a father. And Beverly sees it in him as well, that this is affecting him as well. And I thought that was just a really brilliant little scene, and just such an amazing catharsis from the beginning of the episode to the end. Really, really great. And then this is where we get the true identity of our enemies here. And then I love Picard is just he's like, it's not working. We need to attack. We need to attack. And that ends up destroying them in the end almost. So we could just skip through some of the stuff. The changeling on board the ship explodes. One of the warped, I forget exactly what he blows up, but they can't warp after that, so they're stuck. And now he feels like they have to attack. And Raffi and Worf are now partners, blah, blah, blah. And then they fight they shoot at the ship, and the enemies, the changelings, they use the portal gun against them. They shoot the portal gun, all of the missiles or whatever, I forget the right word, but all the missiles that are shot into the portal, and then the portal redirects it back at them, which, if you've played Splitgate, you know that technique very well. But yeah, I love that ending. I love the tension between Riker and Picard. And Riker says, "Get off the bridge. You've just killed us all." Even though it was Riker that ultimately gave the order to do it. So yeah, I really, really love that. I can't wait for next week. This is my favorite show at the moment. I can't wait to see how it continues. And I hope to see you guys in the next review. If you guys like this review, definitely hit the like button. And I might not cover every episode. I might do them in bulk batches. Let me know what you guys want. Or maybe I'll just do one episode when the whole season airs. I haven't quite decided yet. But let me know in the comment section down below if you want to see me review every episode. Because I will if I ever get a request. But with that, it's been your boy Shuggy. And I hope to see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching, everybody. Peace out.